In this video, you will discover how Solomon's wisdom can unlock answers you've been searching for a long time. Difficult decisions, conflicts, doubts. Maybe what you're lacking isn't strength, but wisdom. And it's closer than you think. How many times have you asked yourself, "What do I do now?" You're about to understand how King Solomon, the wisest man who ever lived, dealt with situations like these, and how you can apply that to your life today. The first test, the judgment of the two mothers and the baby. Shortly after being anointed king and receiving wisdom from above, Solomon is put to the test. And it's not an ordinary test, not the kind you take in a quiet room with paper and pen. It's a life or death decision. Two women came before the throne. Both were mothers, lived in the same house, and both claimed to be the mother of the same baby. It was an extremely delicate situation. During the night, one of their sons died in his sleep. In the darkness, without witnesses, one of the women switched the babies. And in the morning, the dispute began. "This living child is mine." "No. The dead one is yours." "The living one is mine." Chaos had broken out. There was no DNA testing, no cameras, no evidence. It was one woman's word against the others. The people watched in silence. The atmosphere was tense. Everyone expected the young king, so new to the throne, to be unsure of what to do. But Solomon was calm. With a steady gaze and a serene voice, he did something no one expected. "Bring me a sword." The room froze. "A sword? Why?" And then he gave the order. "Cut the living child in two. Give half to one and half to the other." The people were in shock. But the king wasn't joking. He was reading hearts. Immediately, one of the women cried out in desperation. "No, my lord. Please, don't kill the child. Give him to her. Let him live." But the other, coldly, said, "He shall be neither mine nor hers. Divide him." It was at that exact moment Solomon stood and declared, "She is the true mother. Give the child to the first woman. She is the one who truly loves him." The people were amazed. Everyone recognized, the Spirit of God is upon this king. Solomon didn't just solve the case. He revealed the heart. He showed the people that his wisdom wasn't human, it was divine. And that's when Solomon's fame began to spread across all Israel and beyond. Kings, queens, nobles, and merchants began to hear stories of the king who discerned with the eyes of the soul. And it all began there, with a sword, a baby, and a king who knew that true justice comes from God. The construction of the temple, the greatest project of his life. Solomon had already proven he was wise. The people trusted him. Peace reigned in Israel. And now, he was ready to fulfill the promise passed down through generations. To build the temple of the Lord. This was no ordinary project. It was King David's greatest dream. But God had said to David, "You have shed much blood in war. You will not be the one to build my house, but your son will. He will have peace. He will build a temple for me." 1 Chronicles 22 verses 8 to 10. And now, the time had come. Solomon gathered architects, masons, carpenters, goldsmiths, sculptors, and thousands of workers. The project was so grand that the king himself sent for wood from Lebanon, the famous cedars that grew in the mountains, symbols of beauty and strength. King Hiram of Tyre, a great ally of Israel, sent materials and skilled craftsmen. The whole world knew Solomon was building the house of God. The construction took 7 years. 7 years of precise details, strict orders, and an almost sacred care with every stone, every column, every curtain. The temple was built with walls of pure gold, doors carved with cherubim, giant lampstands, a polished bronze altar, and most importantly, the Holy of Holies, the place where the Ark of the Covenant would be kept, the symbol of God's presence among his people. And when the temple was finished, Solomon did something no one would ever forget. He gathered the entire nation in Jerusalem. Levites, priests, elders, all the people. The Ark of the Covenant was brought in reverently, with praise and the sound of trumpets. And in that sacred moment, when the priests placed the Ark in the innermost part of the temple, the glory of God filled the place. A thick cloud covered the temple, and the priests could not even stand to minister. It was the presence of God descending in the midst of the people's worship. 1 Kings 8 verses 10 to 11. And before everyone, Solomon knelt, raised his hands to the heavens, and prayed, "Lord, God of Israel, there is no God like you, who keeps covenant and mercy with those who walk before you. Hear from heaven the prayer of your servant, and forgive your people when they go astray." It was the greatest consecration in the history of Israel. And that day, the people understood. God did not only dwell in heaven. He was now among them. The temple wasn't just a building. It was a symbol, a daily reminder that God keeps his promises. And Solomon, he fulfilled, with excellence, the mission his father left him, and became the man who built the house of the Lord with reverence, honor, and obedience. Notice that Solomon's wisdom wasn't just about eloquent words or knowledge. It was about discernment, connection with God, and courage to do what's right, even when it seemed impossible. In the story of the two mothers, we learn that true wisdom sees beyond appearances. Solomon didn't solve the problem with force, but with a deep understanding of human nature. And in the building of the temple, we saw a king who understood that nothing was more important than preparing a place for the presence of God to dwell, showing that true wisdom begins with reverence and purpose. The lesson is clear. When we place God at the center and seek wisdom with humility, we begin to see solutions where there once was only confusion. And this applies to your life today. Relationships, decisions, conflicts, purpose. Everything changes when you choose to act with wisdom, not just impulse. If this message spoke to you, comment below. Which of Solomon's lessons resonated with you the most today? In the next video, we'll talk about Solomon's global fame, how other kings came to seek his counsel, and how Solomon became the richest man of all time, even to this day.